I hope everyone's having a great day. Today we have a 2017, I think it's a 2500 Chevy Silverado with the L5P Duramax, and we're going to be replacing this knock sensor again because I didn't get to film it for the first time, unfortunately. But this is the module right here. This is the passenger side. That's the def tank. This is the NOx 2 module, and then I'll show you where the sensor terminates, and I'll explain why we're replacing it again. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. This one's a little bit difficult. So if you see right there, see that O2 wire, it looks all new. That's our NOx sensor number 2. This one right here. Now the reason why we're replacing it, the first time it came in, it had a bunch of SCR codes, and the this number 2 sensor, it would only hang around like 100, 150 no matter what you do under acceleration, under deceleration, and understand. These sensors are they're not difficult to diagnose, but they're very specific because in order for you to check it correctly, since this sensor is downstream, it has to be hot. The exhaust has to be hot in order for it to read properly. So it takes a little bit of driving, let it run, make sure it's all warm, and then you can check it and make sure it's correct. Now the first one was stuck at about 150, somewhere around there, no matter what I did. This one right here is like under deceleration, it'd be 1200, 1600. It would just bounce around in the high end. This truck is completely stock. There's nothing modified on it. So I'm thinking we got a bad sensor, and I have already reset it, cleared the codes, because there's specific reset procedures for these sensors. That's all been done and gone through. This one is just not wanting to either reset or the sensor's bad. So we're gonna go ahead and warranty the sensor out real quick. Thankfully the truck hasn't left, because when on my test drive I check it, and I noticed that it wasn't working right. So let's go ahead and get this sensor out so we can get this sucker done. I'm gonna squeeze under here. I was like, why is this tighter? Because we were doing the brakes on it too yesterday. So I was actually able to get underneath it a little bit easier and abandon my creeper and roll around on the ground. We're on clean concrete, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so the sensor's a little bit of a pain in the butt to get to, because you have to kind of go at an angle. Now, I don't want to screw this sensor up too much. Okay. Well, that wasn't too bad. So, this is a 22 wrench, and then luckily this nut, and I'll show you, this nut spins on this. So it's not like an auction sensor on a car. Just really nice. So, it just spins out like so. Oh, like just like that. Sensor is out of the exhaust stream now, so here it is right here. Here's our NOx sensor. This is number 2 position, and like always, this is actually a GM part. We're just having a weird issue with it, which is okay. You see how this nut spins on there? It makes it so much easier to install and remove. So we're gonna go ahead and pop these out. Get these 2 out real quick. Put that one out, and then now let's get this connector off. So. I'm going to push it from the inside so hopefully I don't break it. And I'm going to pry it from the inside so I don't break it, hopefully. Okay. And now we're going to need a 10. Take off those 2 10mm bolts to hold the NOx module in place. I'm having a difficult time getting my socket on my ratchet. Do it all one-handed, so. One, and then we have that guy up there. So, yeah. I'm wondering if they sent me the wrong one. So I need to go double check and make sure this is a, yeah, it says position 2. NOx sensor assembly. ASM NOx position 2. 12V Gen 3 GM part number. You can see it's Continental. It's made in USA. Perfect. So it is correct. It's just something's up with the sensor. So we'll go see what happens. I should have the new one in a second. So we got a replacement one already. You can see same thing, position 2. It's kind of going to be hard to read because of glare, but it is apparently the correct one for the spot. So like I said, this is for the 2nd position. So I'm gonna doing this one-handed. So we're gonna go ahead and put that bolt back in. Put this one back in. And make sure whenever you replace these, you have to have them reset. so the computer knows I guess to relearn the values of it. I'm not really sure, but let's go ahead and get this piggy done, then we'll go test drive it. Okay, there's those two. Then we'll plug this in. This looks all nice and good, doesn't look bad. Make sure it's locked, give it a little tug. And then we want to be careful with the sensor. Sorry, the camera's sideways, but so we got the sensor, and I'm gonna have to get back on the ground because the truck's low. Okay, now we're gonna run it back in its place. So let me get the camera back up to where we need it, and hopefully we're not blinded by the light. It's a little bit difficult to get in here, but we're gonna do it. And if you ever have a hard time getting these out, this one, when I took it out, the original one, I actually had to cut the wires off the top of the sensor and use a 22mm socket just to get it out because it was so tight. So what you do on the old one, obviously, the one that was junk, not the one we warrantied, you cut it right here, and then you can fit a socket over it and loosen it up that way. And that works for like exhaust gas temperature sensors on these trucks and everything. It makes it really easy to get these things out because sometimes they are extremely tight, especially after they've been heat cycled a couple times. Okay, so let's start it by hand. This is a GM part, just kind of, this is the first one I've ever had to go bad, but I've had to replace. It's weird, it worked at first and then it just started taking a crap. Shouldn't say that, it stopped working. Can't even see if I'm on there. Okay, so we got that. Now I'm gonna get back on my creeper. Okie dokie. Okay, so I've already got this one kind of started. I got that one put in. Then we're gonna go ahead and put the wire in this one, this holder. And this is really hard one-handed. Okay, leave that like that. That'll be fine. So we're all good. I'm gonna go ahead and get the scanner, clear the codes, reset it, and we'll see what happens. So I just wanted to show real quick, this is what it looks like when I go ahead and reset this. So we're in the scanner, sorry about the glare. We go to functional test, output controls. Then we're gonna go down and we're gonna go see NOx sensor 1 reset, NOx sensor 2 reset. We're gonna go ahead and reset number 2. And then I'm gonna let it run to warm it up for a couple minutes and I'm gonna go drive it. So we're just gonna click reset and say completed successfully. So we're gonna go back. We'll go ahead and fire it up. And then I'll be back once it's warmed up for a little bit. So someone forgot to bring their camera, so I'm using my cell phone. But as we can see, both of them, I'm under a deceleration right now. They're both dropping. The top one is still not dropping as much as I would like to. But what I need to do is I need to do some more testing when I get back. I need to run it through a, I forgot what it's called. Basically, it's like an SCR test. We'll go ahead and run it through that, just double check, and then we have an idle. We have a nice split. Number 1 should always be higher than number 2. Which it is. A little bit of an acceleration. And give it a little bit of juice. It increases, decel, and it drops. So this one looks a lot better. I am part throttle on right now. I'll go back into a decel, 45. Look at the number 2. That's so much better than what it was. So I think we finally got a good sensor. But when I go back, I'm going to run a couple tests if I need to. Right now, it's looking way better. So, but this is ideally what you want. Like I said, you have to drive it in order for the sensors to warm up to get to this point. Number 2 will start to react a little bit, but you don't be fooled because that sensor still needs to warm up. It'll give you false and weird readings, so you need to make sure that you drive it. I would say probably 10-15 minutes just to be certain before you start taking those readings to heart. Usually what I'll do is I'll clear the codes, do the resets, let it run, and then we double check them and make sure that everything is reading properly. And then I'll obviously go test drive it like this, and sometimes I'll do a test like I will right now. So you figure we'll make sure we don't have any codes. I only drove it probably 10 miles, so we're obviously not gonna have any codes. We'll go back, Let me use my other hand. We'll do a functional test. Use a particulate filter test. We can do a regeneration, reductant system, warning service bay test. This is all reset. Aux loading reset. Yeah, there's nothing in here for what we need. Bound position, reductant quantity, system leak. So at this point, I'm just gonna go ahead and let it go. We know the sensor's working now. When it came in the first time, that sensor wouldn't do anything. Like I said, it was stuck at 150, 175, no matter what you do. Now at least we can get the sensor to react a little bit. When I installed the first sensor, it was working great at first. You know, you accelerate, it would increase. Obviously, it would stay under number 1. You decel, it would drop close to 0. It was a little slow at first, but obviously it takes time to warm up. But I just wanted to be extra sure, so throughout the drive, I wanted to put a little bit more on it. And then it just got stuck. It would hang at 1200, 1600 when the front wasn't even near that. You know, the front would be 600 or 800 when they're wide open. Which it should never be over the front because there's no reason for it to be. Because this knock sensor is before, like, the only thing that can attribute it, I mean, if we have an exhaust leak or something like that, but you'd think the NOx would be lower. If we had a leak, you know, oxygen getting in, it would lower the NOx. And then the only thing upstream is the reductant injector, which is diesel exhaust fluid. I would imagine, again, it would lower it. And when I pulled the sensor out, it was nice and clean. So I don't think we're having any issues with that. But we can see that it's working properly now. This is how it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and give it back to the customer because I'm sure this is a big 2500. I don't know if it's a cab and chassis, but it's got a big work bed on it. I'm sure they need their truck back today. So I'd rather give it back to them today so they can get back to work. And we'll let them know. Just drive it. Let us know what happens. But I have a feeling we'll be just fine. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you do. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.